This is a history book.
So this is an address.
Yeah.
Written thousands of years ago, and it says this, Isaiah 59:14. Justice is held back. Justice is held back. Righteousness stands far away. Truth is fallen to the street, and honesty cannot come in. This is exactly where we are. It's exactly where we are. Not only here, but globally. Can't tell anymore.
Yeah.
Don't know fact from fiction.
A Codega is a guide and a storyteller, escorting you through the night, lighting the way, warding off thieves, ghosts, demons, and other oddities. Along the journey, his companions would often share with him the most curious of stories that he'd record in his Codex. Perhaps you just might find yourself traveling with a Codega and sharing one of yours.
Click that like. If you're new here, subscribe and have the bell hit for notifications to stay up to date on all of the new content. There's a legend in the Solomon Islands that's been passed down for generations about giants. They were said to tower over people, reaching heights close to 15 feet. This story has captivated the imaginations of both islanders and curious researchers. But what lies at the core of this enduring mystery? Are these giants simply the stuff of folklore? Are they remnants of the Nephilim? How much truth is hidden within the tales? It's questions like this that drive me to research the lore and talk to our modern day explorers who venture into these uncharted territories. Hey everyone, I'm Rai, the Codega, and tonight we have returning guest L.A. Marzulli, definitely a fan favorite. Of course, we're going to be talking about giants. What else? The Nephilim, but I'm pretty sure they're one and the same. And we'll get an expert's opinion on that. So before we go too far, I want to reach out to my viewers and listeners. I'm giving you a call to action here. I would love to see some of your artwork, whether it be drawings, any paintings or anything. I'd love for you guys to send it to me at the Codex of Curiosities at gmail.com. And just like Adam Ferris and his 5 Stones comic that he created about David versus Goliath. He made this amazing comic book. I'm going to post some pictures right now that you guys can see a little bit of screenshots from those pages. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. I'm looking for anything. Even if you guys have concocted or created a song or anything, send it my way. I'll have a listen, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'll be featuring you on the Codex of Curiosities. Couple last things before we get out of here. If you guys want any swag, check it out at the Printify store. Become a member of the YouTube channel. That's always great. I love your guys' support, and that's just all I can say. Not much else to say that other than how about we get to our guest, and let's not keep L.A. Marzulli waiting any longer. Hello, L.A. How are you doing today? So glad to have you back.
It's good to be here, Ryan. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. So before we go too far, can you tell our viewers and our listeners where they can find you? I know you got tons of books and tons of films, and you also have a streaming service too, right?
Yes, we do. The website is lamarzulli.com, lamarzulli.com, and the streaming is streaming.lamarzulli.com. You can go there, and there are 30 films. There's 14 books. We have 45 minutes together. We're going to basically just scratch the surface of the research. 30 films is a lot. We're actually working on a film right now on the Shroud of Turin, which should be out probably in October sometime. I actually got the first 56 minutes roughed out. I'm looking right over at it. And that's sort of like part one, because what we're doing is we're tying together the Shroud of Turin with this very enigmatic supernatural event that's been ongoing for 1700 years, and it's called the Holy Fire. And it happens one day out of the year in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. And I've never heard of it till about 6 months ago.
I'm hooked. I'm officially hooked. The Shroud of Turin.
I'm right there with you.
The Shroud of Turin has been coming up a lot lately, actually, and I don't know if it's just getting steam, or if it's something the algorithm is feeding me something I want to know about. Yes. What
I think it's the Lord. I think the Lord is doing something with this film. Out of the 8 billion people on the planet, he selects Elmer Fudd. I say that with all due respect to myself, but I mean, Lord, I mean, who am I that you're allowing me to do this? And I was drawn to the Shroud. I became a Christian 44 years ago. I was drawn to the Shroud, just immediately drawn to it. So I've been sort of an amateur syndenologist for the last 44 years. And, we are in post-production. Like as we speak, I'm looking at my edit suite over there. And the first 56 minutes is going over to my business partner, Gil Zimmerman. And it's just very rough, but it's a story. It's just a story. Let's see if this works. And if it does, then I'll start, going in and having the fun dressing it up. But if the story's not there, you can't. The story's got to be there. Yeah. Once we tell the story, then it's just the cutaways, the pictures, all that stuff. That's the fun part. But it's so that's what we're working on. And then my 14th book, Rungs of Disclosure on the UFO phenomena, perhaps the most important book I've ever written. I was up in Reno last week. We did 15 videos for a teaching course, which will be done with leadership books along with the book. So you'll get all this 15-part video series on the book, The Rungs of Disclosure, plus the book, plus a teaching guide. So it's I'm super busy. I love what I do. Hand on the plow, not looking back, and we're forging ahead. So that's the thumbnail sketch.
That is amazing. That is you are a busy man. I know the last time we talked, it was all about Roswell, and now the Shroud of Turin. Like that almost seems like a completely different direction. But is it a completely different direction? Is this somehow all tied in? With the Nephilim, we do have something. But tell us how did you go there? Why?
Well, my friend Bob Ulrich, who's the COO of Prophecy Watchers, called me up one day, or texted me, whatever, and said, "What do you know about the Holy Fire?" I said, "I've never even heard of the Holy Fire."
I haven't either.
Yeah, nobody in the West, when I say no one, essentially nobody in the West has heard of the Holy Fire. This is like the best kept supernatural secret in some ways on the planet. And so I began to do a deep dive on it. And of course, there's controversy with it and everything else. I've read, 4 or 5 books on it and ongoing. So, and we've interviewed what I believe is some of the top people on the planet who's actually done this. So this, I have a supernatural worldview, and Roswell to me is a supernatural event. It's not a bunch of friendly aliens coming from Zeta Reticuli, or as my elder brother Gary Stearman likes to say, Epsilon Eridani. That's one of his favorite planets. So we're not looking at that. This is a supernatural event. And I talk about this in the Rungs of Disclosure. It's actually the last chapter in the book. And basically you've got Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 1945, Roswell, 47, Israel becomes a nation in 1948. And that's when the whole UFO phenomena lifts off. It's their time. I'm not going to give away the punchline.
No, of course not. Now,
but it's their time.
Now, I have a question. With we know they've been around for millennia. They've been since the beginning of time. But it definitely, like you said, seemed to pick up when we started introducing nuclear weapons. Is that because they are interdimensional and possibly the atomic weapons can affect interdimensional, like they're affecting another aspect of this in their dimension? Is that why they have stepped it up?
I don't think so. Okay. And it's funny, the other side of the aisle, the people that believe that that they're here to save us and all this other stuff. And there are progenitors. They created all life on this planet. They started the world's religions and civilizations, and now at this critical juncture in human history. Here's what I think. When Jesus casts out the demons from the man of the tombs, they say something to him. The demons are speaking to him, and they say something which, in my opinion, is one of the most important scriptures in the entire biblical prophetic narrative. They look at him and they say this: what have you, remember, these are demons speaking.
Yeah.
What have you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God, that's how they address him. Jesus, Son of the Most High God, what have you to do with us? Have you come to torment us before the time? How do they know that where they are 2,000 years ago is not the time of their torment? How do they know that? How do they know that? When Satan is cast to earth, it says in the book of Revelation, the devil has come down to you. He is furious because he knows his time is short. How does he know his time is short? These entities, right, see through time further than we do. And the analogy I used in my book, The Cosmic Chess Match, and this is why you got to do your homework, folks. If you're at all interested, you got to get the books, you got to buy the DVDs, because we have 45 minutes. But The Cosmic Chess Match, the cornfield analogy, I'm in a field of corn. Corn's 8 feet tall. I see the corn stalks in front of me, to the right and to the left. In other words, I'm in the space-time continuum. I move through the space-time continuum 1 second at a time. I can't go back. I can't go forward. So the fallen one, the dragon, i.e. Satan, pulls up into that cornfield with a nice new red fire truck with a big extension ladder on it. And he climbs up to the top of that ladder, and he can see the cornfield and a couple of cornfields around him and a couple of cornfields, maybe 3 or 4 miles away. Okay. His perspective through time is different than ours. He can see through time in ways that we can't, but he's not all knowing. And then, and I love this, then the Most High God shows up in, he's actually above the earth, and he's in this, what is going on? Stop this. Oh, sorry. Got distracted here. So the Most High God is in the space shuttle looking at planet Earth. He can see the entire Earth. He zooms in. He can see the dime that just fell out of my pocket in the cornfield. He can zoom back further and see all the cornfields around. And then further back, he can see the state of Kansas, where all the cornfields are. And further back, he sees the entire planet. In other words, the Most High God, El Shaddai, can see through time. He sees the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end, all at the same time. So his perspective is completely different. Yeah. Is it possible that, circling back to when the demons were speaking to Jesus, they know what their time looks like, and it's not what it looked like 2,000 years ago? In my opinion, this is the answer to the riddle of why these entities are obsessed with nukes. Here's why. You get a nuclear event on this planet, anywhere, and I'm not making this up. They're already saber rattling it. Putin's saber rattling it. Kim Jong-un. Who knows? Yeah. How far the Iranians, the F. It's through the roof. The Pakistanis, they're all saber rattling with the nukes. You get a nuke anywhere on this planet that's detonated anywhere, it creates the greatest climate of fear that mankind has ever experienced collectively. That's an unprecedented event in all of human history. And we all watch it, Rai, in real time together. We watch it together, and it creates this incredible climate of fear. The fear is the calling card of darkness. Fear is the calling card of the evil one. Faith is the calling card of heaven, calling card of God. They're mutually exclusive. You get a nuke going off, that creates a global climate of fear. That's when they show up as our space brothers to save us from ourselves. And that, my friend, is the coming great deception. That is the strong delusion that prophecy tells us about.
Okay, that makes complete sense. And that's like the fuse to this powder keg that's going to go on. That is the beginning, the starting event is this. And you're right. Like when Nagasaki happened, who knew that nuclear device had been exploded? Well, only those within that area.
Correct.
And eventually it was broadcasted, to the Americans slowly, like maybe, like progressively. Whereas now in this day and age with, the internet, exactly.
Speed of light.
Yes. And then that drop of fear, that becomes, not just a drop, like that small little, not that it's not a small event, but that event then becomes an ocean, and it'll have catastrophic,
And think about this, right? And this is all in the book, Rungs of Disclosure. Bible prophecy tells us that in the last days there'll be a one world government and a one world religious system.
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. You get a nuke going off, the Space Brothers show up, and that's the game changer.
Yeah.
That is the game changer. And there's predictive programming. If we could share the screen, I could show your viewers.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Hey. All right. So let's give this a try.
Watch this. This was played at the Super Bowl, right?
Reports of flying saucers are nothing new.
These are routine sightings, not isolated events.
Are you seeing that? It's spinning. There's a whole swarm of them. Oh my God. They're all against the wind. All against the wind.
Well, watch what she's looking at.
110, 150.
must make immediate contact.
I told you to go away. This always happens.
Yeah.
A website makes it real. Squarespace. So what you're looking at here is predictive programming. Those craft were all over the globe. They were in Texas, New York City, Paris, France, and Japan. Now they could have gone to more, but you get the point. It's global. It's a global event. This is predictive programming, in my opinion. That ad cost millions of dollars. It was played at the 2024 Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, like why that?
Why?
Yeah,
and you don't even know what the ad's for. A website makes it real. Squarespace.
What does that mean? Yeah, exactly.
What does that even mean? A website makes it real. I mean, someone spent an inordinate amount of money to create that 1 minute film. It's a high budget commercial.
Yeah,
high budget commercial, and it's predictive programming. And folks, I'm not making this stuff up anymore. I've been warning against this for 30 years, and most of it has fallen on deaf ears and still does on some level. But I will tell you this, that when David Grush stands up in the halls of Congress and basically says that we have crashed craft in our possession, and then when Representative Nancy Mace from South Carolina says, well, were there occupants in these crashed craft? And Grush looks right up at her and says, yes, we retrieved occupants. And she follows up, were these occupants human or non-human? And he says they were non-human biologics. Jeez. I mean, that's the line in the sand. Yeah. And then, and I'm going to do another one. I want to show
for
you.
sure.
Yeah. Before you roll this, it doesn't matter what this woman is talking about, whether it's the nuclear fission or a great recipe for eggplant parmesan, or what to do, if your 5-year-old falls off a bike and skins his knee. Doesn't matter what she's talking about. Let's watch the clip. Roll the clip.
All right, let's do this here. So we are going to. Oh, all right. Let's do this.
Have you ever had, maybe you're in that place right now where you want to turn your life around and you know somewhere deep in your soul, there could be some decisions that you have to make. Like, you know, like it's like something was decided for you. And instead of trying to make something that is done work, it's like the invitation is to make the decision, commit to that, and to start creating what comes next. But here's the thing. When we say no to something, we're saying yes to something else.
Okay, so that's all you need to see.
Mm-hmm.
What you just witnessed, what we all just watched together, was 100% AI fabrication. 100%.
Wow.
Right. This is the problem. Like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and this is all in my forthcoming book, Rungs of Disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about this. It's in the lecture series I did, the 15-part lecture series. See, folks, you just got to do your homework because you're not going to get it all. You're just not. Shameless plug, LA. I don't care. You got to do your homework. I have 45 minutes here. How much can I tell you?
Yeah.
The bottom line is this. Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a line of demarcation. It moved us into the nuclear age. What you just saw is another line, and you can't go backwards. Now, Rye, you can't tell, and I can't tell, and the guy on the street can't tell what is real and what is fabrication. So you're no longer accountable. I can no longer be accountable because I can't tell what's true and what isn't anymore, and neither can you. Because anybody can take your image or my image and create the most vile, obscene things coming out of our mouths, right?
Yes.
Coming out of your mouth, coming out of, and now you have to defend yourself and say, that wasn't me. Well, we saw the video, all right. G-Rye, we saw the video.
Yeah.
And this is why there's an ancient prophecy. It's from the prophet Isaiah, thousands of years ago, Isaiah 59:14. That's an address, folks. It's just like there's nothing spiritual about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people, oh, he's quoting scripture. All I'm doing is giving you an address. If you were reading Moby Dick and I wanted to show you, hey, on chapter 4, on page 68, that's where Queequeg is finally introduced. I could say that, and that's okay. But the moment I say Isaiah 59:14, oh my gosh, he's a Bible phone.
It triggers. It's a trigger. Like I will admit that people get triggered. Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's a total trigger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is a history book. This is a history book.
So this is an address.
Yeah.
Written thousands of years ago, and it says this, Isaiah 59:14. Justice is held back. Justice is held back. Righteousness stands far away. Truth is fallen to the street, and honesty cannot come in. This is exactly where we are. It's exactly where we are. Not only here, but globally. Can't tell anymore. Yeah. Don't know fact from fiction. And this, in my opinion, is the last line. This is it. He, the God-man, fully God, fully man, he's got to come back soon because you can't fix this anymore. And 25 years ago, Rye, I would have said, we can make this better. Yeah. There might be a revival, blah, 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 blah. Not anymore, folks. And people, you can think what you want to think. But the Middle East is imploding. Russia and Ukraine are imploding. Tens of thousands of people have been slaughtered in Russia and Ukraine. You don't hear one word about that in this media. But all you do is hear about the Palestinians. Meanwhile, the Palestinians just shot in cold blood 6 of the hostages. Seriously? If that was your son and your daughter, what would you want? What would
retaliation?
You say?
Retaliation.
Everybody would.
Blown.
Because this is cold-blooded murder. This is evil beyond anything. And you remember who started it. Just remember who started it on October 7th. We're coming up to that anniversary. 1 year ago. These people's lives, the hostages' lives will never be the same again. It's over. No. It's over. And so what we're looking at, in my opinion, is a possible fulfillment of ancient prophetic texts, specifically Ezekiel 38 and 39, which talks about this group of nations coming up against a land of unwalled villages, which in my opinion I've been to Israel. It is a land of unwalled villages. It is. And here's another prophecy I'll throw at you. It's Amos 9. Amos is an ancient prophet. And so when you go to the 9th chapter, isn't that nice? Because in the old days, you just had a scroll. There were no chapters. There were no divisions. So if I was saying this, you go, where is that? I got to read the whole.
Where is that one? Got to go search through it all.
Yeah. Now you don't have to do that. I just go Amos 9, 9th chapter. There it is. 14 and 15. It says this. I will bring back the captives of my people, Israel. Check. 1948. 1948.
Yeah.
They will build the waste cities and inhabit them. Check. They will plant vineyards and drink the wine from them. I've been there. I've seen the vineyards. Check. They will also plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Check. Israel exports, at least before the war, all these fruits and vegetables into Europe. Get this, and here's the kicker. I will plant them in their land, and never again will they be uprooted out of the land I have given them, says the Lord your God. And this is it. They will never be driven from the land again. And this is why we are in this window of time, in my opinion, which is absolutely unprecedented. You've got AI, you've got the threat of nukes, you've got the burgeoning UFO phenomena, you got wars and rumors of wars, you have famines, you've got pestilence, which is now it's monkeypox. Oh, run for your life. Oh my gosh. And this is where we are. And in my opinion, this is why he's coming back soon, because you can't fix this. You can't fix this anymore.
That's, that's a dire prediction, but it's not also a dire prediction though. It's, we have kind of allowed this to happen. We've allowed sadists to run the camps. And I've said this before. I said, a lot of good groups, a lot of good organizations all started out with good intentions, but they've all been corrupted and perverted and, and they have gone off the rails. A lot of them, I would say almost all of them are all gone loco. It's crazy now. And then you got the people who are following this craziness, I applaud the people who actually see the craziness, that think like these things that are happening, and they're able to step back and step away from this and not get caught up in that storm, in that tide, in that tsunami of crazy. And that's what they're doing, because that's what the CIA has always planned. That was, they knew to fight an organization, you're not going to win. You might win, but there's going to be lots of casualties. But if you can take over that organization and run it for yourself, then that's how you win. And I'm just saying CIA, it can be anything else. It can be anything else. Yeah. Yeah, that's extremely interesting. Okay, so I know we don't got too much time, but I would love, we're going to skip to Kandahar, because I'm sure you've told that millions of times. Everybody's heard that. Let's go to the Nephilim. Where are they now? What is your thoughts on where they are now and what they are up to, if they're up to anything? What is the goals?
In our film, Best of Watchers, you can stream it, streaming.eliamarzulli.net, streaming.eliamarzulli.net. You need to watch Best of Watchers on the Kandahar Giant. My late business partner, Richard Shaw, and I broke the story. We're the guys that broke the story. Nobody else did. Now all these people act like they're we spoke to the shooter. I've spoken to the grandson of the witch, the witch who was there and bringing the goats to the cave. I mean, we've done a deep dive on it, but I digress. There's an ancient biblical prophetic text. You see, this is the deal, folks. If you want to know what's going on, right here, this is where you go, because this is the guidebook of the supernatural, i.e., the Bible.
And it's funny, because I was watching one of your lives you did where someone was asking, it was the questions, and someone was asking, which page do you have it open to? And you had said, well, it changes. It all depends. Yeah.
It all depends. Right now it's parked at Amos 9, 14, and 15. Okay. It's parked there probably for a while, because this is where we are. We are Amos 9, 14, and 15, and then slip over to Ezekiel 38, 39. So Daniel chapter 2, verse 43. Oh, he's quoting the Bible again. Oh my gosh. But that's you can go and read it for yourself. Okay. Mm-hmm. Daniel 2:43 says this, one of the most enigmatic passages in all of Scripture. And I got this from Chuck Missler years ago. It says this: their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. What does that mean? Who are they? Who are they? It's not men. So whose seed are we talking about?
Yeah.
See where this is going?
Yeah.
And then the angel tells Daniel, seal up the words in the book, Daniel. He gives us a supernatural clue until the time of the end. And then he tells us what the time of the end will look like. Men and women will run to and fro over the face of the earth. That's where we are now. Knowledge will increase exponentially every 6 months. We are here. That prophecy is done with such great specificity that even the most diehard atheist skeptic has to look at that and go, well, he's got a point there. Something's going on there. How does that guy know about all this stuff? But that's the deal, because you're dealing with God, the Most High, who's given the angel the task of going and telling Daniel what the end's going to look like. And then the angel says, seal up the words in the book, Dan. No one's going to understand until the time of the end, which is true. The seed war, their seed will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not cleave to them. Who are they? The breeding program starts in the early 1950s. Benny and Barty Hill, Eisenhower goes to, right, makes the deal, does the whole deal.
Makes the deal.
Thing. Yeah. So you can, just tell us who you're taking, give us the technology. It's right out of the Book of Enoch, same deal. The abductions begin, the breeding program begins, the hybrid entities, which are modern day Nephilim, look more alien. They look very sickly. That's the first generation. The second generation of hybrid are the black-eyed kids. Now, this is conjecture, but it's based on a lot of research.
Yeah.
The second generation are the black-eyed kids. They're short, they're stocky, but they're not children, but they're not full grown. The third generation is what Al Matthews in our film on abductions, he's telling us to go buy another film. Oh my gosh. For $5, you can watch the abduction film. It's number 4 in the UFO series. I mean, I don't have time to get into this, but Al was abducted from a very early age, 5, 6 years old. There are 4 people in that film. All of them have been abducted, 2 men, 2 women. Al Matthews was taken later, and sperm is taken from the men, ovum is taken from the women. There's the mixing of the seed, Genesis 3:15. I mean, there it is. Al had a confrontation with this woman who was wearing these dark black glasses over her eyes. She was a hybrid. She was a Nephilim hybrid. That's what they are. It's a mixing of the seed. Are they giants? No, they're not. They're trying to create an entity that looks and can pass as human. And Diane, which is what this woman's first name was a Nephilim hybrid, in my opinion. She's a modern day Nephilim. There are people who won't touch that with a 10-foot pole in the churches. They'll call them crazy in every other name. But the bottom line is everything held back to Genesis 3:15. And I owe this to Gary Stearman, once again, my elder brother, who taught this at one of our Nephilim Mounds conferences years ago. And we all sat there, scrawling, taking copious notes, because I'd never heard Genesis 3:15 expounded the way Gary did. Genesis 6 we all knew, but Genesis 3:15 is the springboard to the rest of the biblical narrative.
Okay. That's something I need to look into a little bit further. Now, so why do you think the purpose is of creating this look-alike, this human look-alike? I have a theory.
Satan's outnumbered 2-1. He's building an army. I'm quoting Chuck Missler once again in our Watchers series. But Chuck Missler said, when I asked him that question years ago, Chuck's gone home with the Lord now, but years ago, without any hesitation, he goes, Satan's outnumbered 2-1. He's building an army. Just like that. It's in the film. Just like that. Rattle it off. And that's exactly true. Satan's outnumbered 2-1. He's building an army. Who do you think? All the kings of the earth are waiting on the plain of Megiddo. I've seen it. I've seen it from a mountaintop looking out. Places, the armies are there. And Jesus returns with the armies of heaven on flying white horses, by the way. That's a whole other conversation for another time. And out of his mouth comes a sharp sword with which to strike the nations. You know what he does? Colossians tells us this, that he is the image of the unseen God, the firstborn of creation, for all things were created by him. And without him was nothing that would, no, I mixed it up. All things were created. Hold on, I'll get it.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it. I don't got it. No, I'll try. He is the firstborn of creation. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of creation, for all things were made by him, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, with the thrones, dominions, rulers, or authority. All things were created by him. Here's the punchline. And he holds all things together. This is conjecture on my part. When the Lord comes back on that flying white horse, and that sharp sword comes out of his mouth like a sharp sword,
Yeah.
all he does is he stops holding all those people that are gathered against him. He just stops holding them together. Right? They bleed out right there. And that's the blood up to the horse's bridle. It's not a slaughter. Well, it's a slaughter, but we're not, I don't think we're involved in it. We're not lopping heads off like Lord of the Rings and orcs. We're not doing that. We watch him destroy the enemy's army, but just by the breath of his coming. He just stops holding them together. Goes, okay, I get it. You hate me. You hate mankind. You want to rule. You're not going to rule. I paid the debt on Calvary. I've got the armies with me, the White Horse Police Force. And the moment I land on the Mount of Olives, after I've completely destroyed you, that thing will split in half. I will rule in Jerusalem, by the way, for 1,000 years. It's literal, absolutely literal. He rules from Jerusalem, and then he dispenses the White Horse Police Force. The armies of heaven rode with him on white horses, dressed in fine linen, white and clean. That's us. We get the ringside seat. We get to watch him do all this. And then he goes, Marzulli, okay, go right now. And it's telepathic.
Yeah.
Go right now to Venezuela. Go to this city in Venezuela. Preach the gospel, heal the sick, raise the dead. We do greater works than when Jesus was here. We're in glorified bodies. We're on flying white horses. And we are ruling cities and towns. I can't wait. Part of me is already there. I mean, I'm in a glorified body. I don't need to sleep. I'm preaching the gospel. People are coming up. We're healing them because you've got 4 billion people. There's 8 billion people right now. 4 billion die in the time of Jacob's trouble, the tribulation period, the 7-year period. But 4 billion people are here, and they have no clue what's going on. They've already seen AI to the nines. They've already, watched all the Antichrist hoopla and everything else. They've seen all this crazy UFO stuff, and they're going, now who's this guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on? Who are these flying white horses? Oh my gosh, I want to go to sleep. Leave me alone. And we go out and we tell people exactly what's going on. Maybe he dispatches me to India. I don't care. It doesn't matter where, although it'd be really great to come back in my little bungalow here in the Santa Monica.
That would be nice. That would be nice always. Yes.
If it's still here, who knows, right? But I'm going to fly. I'll tell you a story. 44 years ago, I was a brand new Christian. I never read the book of Revelation. And all of a sudden, like Paul, I'm taken in the body, out of the body. I don't know. It was not a vision. It was not a vision. It was not a mental picture. Yeah. I was there for 3 seconds. I'm seated on a white horse. My hands are holding on to the horse's mane. There's no bridle, no saddle.
Yeah.
Second one, there I am. Second two, I look to my left. There's the rider on the white horse, Jesus, a long ways away. And all the horses are staggered so you can see Jesus. And we're stacked like floors on an apartment building. 1, 3, 7, 9, 12, up we go. And we're in a horseshoe shape. So Jesus is in the middle of his horseshoe.
Yeah.
The armies of heaven are stacked up. I'm up on the right-hand side, about 8 rows back. Second one, the main. Second two, there's the rider. Second three, I look in front of me. The guys in front, right, are really big. Really big. So that's 44 years ago. Then when my father passed away in 2014, I'm all alone in my boyhood room. My wife and children are coming in 5 days later for the funeral. And my mother's downstairs. My brother's flying in. So I'm alone, basically.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit begins to speak to me. Disclaimer, this does not happen every night, okay? I'm not Moses, all right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So the Holy Spirit begins and he goes, have you ever wondered? No, he goes, do you remember what happened in that when you were taken 44 years ago? I go, wow, yeah, can I have another? Dead silence. Then he goes, have you ever wondered what happens to the horses kind of going like, no, I've never really thought about that.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit goes, those white horses are the Father's gift to you. What does every kid want when they were a child?
They always want a horse.
Well, everybody wants a horse, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, great. I get to take care of the horse. I got to feed it. I got to clean up the horse poop. I got to do this. I got to clean the barn out. I'm going to Mr. Carnal, right?
Yeah.
There's another pause. The Holy Spirit gives me the punchline. And those horses can fly. And I jumped up out of the bed. Can I see him? Can I see him? Please, can I see him? We are on flying white horses because we go. The armies of heaven rode with them on white horses dressed in fine linen, white and clean. We're coming down. And in that where I was taken, we were going down like this.
Wow.
The whole retinue was going down. It's just unbelievable. So that's the second one. The third one, and he's never done this before, ever, 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 ever. He gave me, it's usually one word he gives me. One word. I've never heard of the word like pusillanimous. Do you know what pusillanimous means, Rod?
I have no idea.
I don't either, but this is what I deal with at 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? He goes, pusillanimous. I keep a paper and pen right by the bed. So I go, pusil, I kind of spell it out phonetically. I look it up. You know what it means? It means fearful. And then the Lord showed me just how fearful I was in so many different areas of my life.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lesson. So it's only one word. It's been 44 years, one word here, one word there, and it continues. Just one word. That's all I get. This time it's different. This time he wakes me up and he says this: no flesh, no sin, no death, no sting. Hail to the King, hail to the King, hail to the King. And when I'm writing it down, my mind explodes and I have a vision. And the vision is I'm on a white horse in this beautiful glade. I'm in the heavenly seed, beautiful glade with 30 or 40 other men. And all of a sudden, Jesus appears at the mouth of the glade. And I take my sword and I go, no flesh. And everybody goes, no flesh, no sin, no sin, no death, no death, no sting. Hail to the King, hail to the King, hail to the King. And we ride off with him. That happened this year. And I truly believe that we are in a window of time where we might be seeing the King sooner than anybody thinks. And I'm not a date setter, but next Wednesday is probably going to happen.
I actually have heard next year. Actually, I've heard from a couple of people that next year is going to be a very, I don't know, very interesting. I'll just say very interesting year.
I think I'm not the only one who's feeling this. I think we are. But see, if you're a millennial, if you don't believe in a literal 1,000 years of millennial reign, if you don't believe that the Jews are a chosen people, then you can't understand anything that you're looking at. You can't. You don't understand Isaiah 59:14, which we talked about. You don't understand Amos 9:14 and 15, which we talked about, the regathering of Israel.
Yeah.
You don't understand the book of Revelation because he comes back. He comes back and the Mount of Olives splits in half. The millennial kingdom is real and we're in it. And I can't wait.
Well, thank you, LA, so much for joining us. And again, one last time, where they can find you.
The streaming site is streaming.lamarzulli.net. The website is lamarzulli.com. We're doing a pre-sale on the Rungs of Disclosure. It's $5 off. Plus, all the books will be autographed. So support what we do here. If you believe in what we're doing.
And I think also involved with your group is Karen Wilkinson and Vicky Joy Anderson as well. They are fantastic.
There they go.
Yeah, Stolen Seed, Evil Harvest, and they come out at night. Yeah,
Great
they're
book.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much, LA.
Thanks, Brian. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, I wish you all the best. You take care. Thank you so much.
God bless you, sir.
All right, everyone. Always, my interviews always go in a different direction than I always planned, but that is the way they are, and that is natural, and I'd rather them be natural than forced. So I want to thank L.A. Marzulli for coming out, telling us about the Shroud. I'm really looking for the Shroud of Turin. That looks and sounds very interesting because that just keeps coming up on my feed for some reason. You know, I heard it was debunked many, many, many years ago, but then, you know, we see it coming back out again. And I'm very, very intrigued by it. So I hope everyone is as intrigued as I am about all these subjects that we're diving into. I hope that you're, enjoying this show, and, always keep your curiosity wandering, keep the light lit, and always find your way home.
I look forward to our next adventure together as we navigate the mysteries that lie ahead. Until our paths cross again, keep your curiosity wandering, keep the light lit, and always find your way home.